Nature's most lethal venoms utilize radically different strategies to bypass physical defenses, ranging from dissolving cellular architecture to short-circuiting the central nervous system. The geography cone snail. This marine predator weaponizes a specialized endocrine disruptor. A single clinical drop of insulin is a life-saving intervention, but the geography cone snail uses a concentrated cocktail to induce massive hypoglycemic shock. It floods the surrounding water, forcing nearby fish into an instantaneous metabolic coma. The victim drifts into a brain-dead sleep, entirely unaware of the threat. The snail then extends a highly flexible rostrum, pulling the paralyzed prey inside a mobile sarcophagus of flesh to digest it alive. The final strike relies on pure biological ballistics. Hidden within its fleshy proboscis is a hollow radula tooth, acting as a disposable harpoon. An internal hydraulic system fires this projectile with the muzzle velocity of a rifle bullet. When a human accidentally triggers it, the harpoon effortlessly punches through thick neoprene. There is no antivenom. The payload paralyzes the human diaphragm in minutes, locking the conscious victim out of their own respiratory system long before rescue is possible. The Brown Recluse. In the absolute dark, this spider unleashes a severe cytotoxin that literally liquefies living tissue through auto-necrotic collapse. This nightmarish reaction was never designed for humans. The spider hunts insects, utilizing the highly rare enzyme sphingomyelinase D as an external digestive system. The toxin forces the prey's cells to self-destruct, instantly converting the solid internal organs of a beetle into a liquid protein mass. The spider only survives carrying this extreme biological solvent because its own venom glands are heavily armored with impenetrable chitin. A human victim merely serves as a tragic benchmark for this raw, destructive power. Over 90% of envenomations are pure accidents, the reflexive defense of an animal physically crushed within the folds of a bedsheet. The resulting tissue liquefaction relentlessly follows gravity, leaving deep necrotic craters in human flesh. This is not a calculated hunt, but the desperate deployment of a solvent built to drink the inside of an insect. The Australian box jellyfish. Drifting invisibly in shallow waters, this silent killer fires microscopic harpoons loaded with an extreme cardiotoxin engineered to instantly short-circuit the heart. The toxicity of this jellyfish is pure biological necessity. Its tentacles are so fragile that the violent survival struggle of a captured fish would instantly tear them to pieces. The venom acts as an absolute kill switch. Millions of nematocysts stand highly pressurized. At the slightest touch, they breach the skin in less than 70 nanoseconds, punching physical holes directly into the lipid membranes of the heart. The jellyfish avoids its own lethal net because a chemical safety lock instantly jams the firing mechanism upon contact with its own tissue. If this strike can stall a massive human heart in under 120 seconds, it guarantees an immediate, silent system failure for a fish. The desperate attempt to neutralize the venom on human skin with urine is a fatal myth. The sudden shift in osmotic pressure instantly forces all remaining stinging cells to detonate. Only acetic acid chemically locks the firing mechanism. The Russell's viper. This reptile utilizes a biphasic hemotoxin, triggering a massive, cascading failure of the cardiovascular system by converting the entire blood volume into millions of microscopic clots. This highly complex chemical thickening agent was evolutionarily perfected to immediately stop extremely fast rodents. It transforms a pressurized hydraulic system into a static, viscous sludge within seconds. The prey's heart attempts in vain to pump a solidifying substance, making immediate cardiovascular collapse inevitable. A human victim serves as a physical scale for the true horror of this toxic reaction, which strikes in the second phase. Once the venom permanently exhausts all the body's natural clotting factors, the remaining fluid becomes hyperwatery. Blood begins to leak uncontrollably from mucosal membranes, old scars, and even the pores of the eyes. Antivenom can halt this clinical scenario, but it must be administered intravenously before the secondary hemorrhagic phase irreparably destroys the body. Sucking the venom out of the wound is biological nonsense. The human mouth cannot generate the necessary vacuum pressure to intervene in capillary flow. The Duckbuild Platypus. Concealed on the hind legs of the male is a biomechanical spur that injects a pure algogen, a substance programmed exclusively to generate maximal, unendurable pain. This weapon is used neither for hunting prey nor for defense against predators. It is an exclusive instrument built for intrasexual warfare. Males use this spur to physically break rivals during brutal combat in the breeding season. The venom is a highly specialized torture mechanism. It does not kill. It fires directly at the nerve endings, completely bypassing classic opiate receptors, so the struck rival cannot chemically adapt to the pain. When a human is accidentally hit, the brutal potency of this territorial weapon is fully exposed. Morphine and traditional painkillers are medically completely useless. The substance forces the nervous system into a state of long-term hyperalgesia, severely lowering the pain threshold for months. A light breeze across human skin is interpreted by the brain as a searing fire. The vampire bat. This nocturnal specialist executes a silent biochemical exploit, utilizing a powerful anticoagulant to extract resources without ever triggering a physical alarm. This attack relies on absolute stealth. The bat targets massive mammals that would crush it at the slightest defensive reaction. Thermoreceptors in its nose map the exact coordinates of flowing blood vessels with sub-millimeter precision. A widespread myth claims that vampires suck blood. In reality, they use razor-sharp incisors for a precise micro-shave to expose the vessel. The secret to this theft is a protein called draculin. It highly specifically blocks only coagulation factors 9 and 10. The host's immune response is completely bypassed. There is no inflammation, no pain, and no blood clotting. The bat simply laps up the fluid through capillary action. If a human is bitten in their sleep, they do not even register the breach of their physical integrity. The predator vanishes silently into the darkness long before the draculin is broken down. The Deathstalker Scorpion. The venom of this arachnid is a highly potent neurotoxin that forces a catastrophic adrenergic storm, hijacking the endocrine system to release the body's entire adrenaline reserves in a single wave. The anatomy of this scorpion dictates its extreme survival strategy. It possesses tiny, fragile pincers and cannot crush its prey through mechanical force. It must rely entirely on a lethal biochemical weapon. The toxin drives the victim's blood pressure so drastically high that hydrostatic pressure forces bodily fluids directly into the lungs. The victim literally drowns in dry air. When a human is struck, the sheer volume of the adrenergic storm pushes the cardiovascular system to the breaking point, requiring massive doses of antivenom to prevent total systemic shock. Deep within this destructive payload hides a peptide called chlorotoxin. It binds exclusively to the surface of cancer cells, a deadly radar that modern medicine now synthesizes to illuminate malignant brain tumors during surgery. Greening's frog. This amphibian weaponizes a hyaluronidase cytotoxin hybrid, driving hidden bone spines through its own face to ram a tissue liquefying chemical directly into an attacker. The mechanism of this strike is entirely active, destroying the common assumption that toxic frogs are merely passive defenders waiting to be eaten. This frog uses its head as a battering ram. The venom injected via the bone spines functions as a biological warhead. It systematically dissolves the attacker's connective tissue and breaks the structural integrity of the flesh. This localized chemical liquefaction physically clears the path, guaranteeing that the primary neurotoxins can instantly penetrate deep into the predator's vascular system. If this spiked skull rams into human tissue, the result is immediate, radiating, and extreme pain. There is no antivenom to neutralize this primitive but highly aggressive form of biochemical close combat. The giant centipede. The venom delivery tools of this arthropod are massively modified. Hollow front legs that inject a severe cardiovascular and metabolic toxin straight through chitin and muscle tissue. This giant centipede hunts in 3 dimensions. It anchors its rear segments to the ceilings of deep cave systems, hanging upside down in absolute darkness to snatch flying bats straight out of the air. The prey is large, defensive, and highly mobile. The venom must end the fight in a fraction of a second before the mammal can escape. The hydraulic legs inject a complex peptide that triggers a simultaneous, total collapse of the cellular metabolism and the cardiovascular system. The bat's heart stops immediately. The extreme mechanical trauma of the leg pincers, combined with the instant metabolic system failure, shuts the victim down completely. If a human is pierced by these hydraulic legs, immediate local necrosis and systemic shock follow without any available antivenom. The Asian giant hornet. This insect injects a lethal mix of neurotoxins and cytotoxins equipped with a chemical targeting laser, marking its victim for a coordinated swarm attack before physically melting the flesh. The hornet utilizes a highly specialized venom containing a volatile pheromone signature. The initial sting is not just an attack, but a beacon. This chemical flare alerts the entire nest, instantly transforming an isolated encounter into a synchronized mass assault. The evolutionary purpose is the brutal eradication of entire competing colonies. The primary mechanism of the venom is an extremely aggressive cytotoxic reaction. The substance is biochemically so sharp that it literally dissolves epidermis and muscle fascia upon contact, leaving deep necrotic craters. For a human, lethality goes beyond anaphylactic shock. The liquefied flesh and muscle cells enter the bloodstream and clog the kidneys, triggering multiple organ failure without immediate clinical dialysis. The stinger is perfectly smooth, allowing the hornet to extract its weapon and ram it into the flesh in rapid succession, driven by the mechanical rhythm of a sewing machine.